Alright, so this is going to be a quick tutorial about metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. Alright, so first we're going to start is what is the difference between metals, nonmetals, and metalloids? Well, they're all elements, and they all have different properties or characteristics. We're going to start with metals first. Metals are shiny. They're good conductors of both heat and electricity. That means that heat and electricity can travel through them very easily. They're usually solid at room temperature. They're malleable. That means it's bendable. You can just think of a paper clip. It's easy to bend. It doesn't just break. I mean, eventually it does, but metals are able to actually be bent. And ductile, which means you can make it into a wire. And metals, when they react, when they form ions, they tend to lose electrons, and then because they're losing these negatives, they form positive ions or cations. And we're going to learn more about this later. On the other hand, nonmetals are basically the exact opposite of metals. They're not shiny, they're dull. They're poor conductors of heat and electricity, meaning they're more like insulators. They're usually gas or liquid at room temperature. They're brittle, which means you can't really bend them. They just kind of fall apart if they are solid. And they gain electrons to form negative ions, which are called anions. Lastly, we have metalloids, which are basically it has properties of both. You know, they're not necessarily shiny, but they're not necessarily dull. They're somewhere in the middle. They can conduct heat and electricity, but just not as good as metals, but not as bad as nonmetals. And you get the idea. So it's kind of just a mixture in between those two. The periodic table of elements, I made this one to kind of show you how they're divided up. The white boxes are the metals, and as you can see, there's more white than anything else. Most of the elements are, in fact, metals. Metalloids represent this kind of staircase design right here. These six right here represent the metalloids. And then the upper right, not counting hydrogen, which is over here, the red is gonna be the nonmetals. So as you can see, there's nonmetals on one side, the upper right. The lower left is mostly metals, and then in between this staircase is the metalloids. So that's kind of how it's divided up in the periodic table. So that's what you pretty much need to know about metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. If you have any questions, let me know.